Hey guys, what is up, and welcome to today's video. So, one of the questions that I get on the channel and my live streams pretty much all the time is, I've just pulled this champion. Is it a good champion? Is it a bad champion? Where does it rank, you know, in the wider spectrum of things? Because there are like 70, 80 champions in the game. I should probably know the exact number, but it's somewhere around there. So there are a lot of champions, and we're kind of in a state of the game at the moment where there aren't any bad champions. Now that willpower has been nerfed, there aren't any champions that kind of will just, you know, if you fight an enemy with willpower, will just heal that enemy to full and is completely unkillable. So there aren't any like bad champions, but comparatively there are still bad champions, right? So I've split them into 5 tiers, and this is really open to your input as well, guys, because this is just what I sat down this morning for a couple of hours, was kind of going through my whole roster and thinking about kind of the wider spectrum of the game and where champions have use and where they don't. And, you know, even if a champion, you know, does an okay amount of damage, is it actually ever going to be played anywhere? Are you going to use it for Alliance War? Are you going to use it for Alliance Quest? Are you going to actually, you know, use this champion as a preferable option for anything in the game? And if the answer to that is no, then that is what the average tier is for. So the average tier is pretty much champions that I believe have close to no use in the game at the moment, and I'm going to explain why. But apart from that, we have the average tier, we have the good tier, we have the great tier, we have the amazing tier, and we have the god tier. So the god tier champions are the rulers of all the game. If you have one of the god tier champions, they're just great for so many aspects. So I'm going to start with the god tier champions, and then we're going to work our way down. But again, guys, I'm really open to input on this list, but I want to do a quick video, obviously talking about, well, quickly brushing over some of my decisions on some of the tier and rankings. So god tier, guys, of course, we got Scarlet Witch. These aren't in any particular order in terms of like the tier. They are just, you know, if something's in a tier, it's in a tier, you know? Like, it's not like Scarlet Witch is #1 of the god tier champions. Like, they're all pretty good for different aspects of the game. So Scarlet Witch just has so many debuffs: power lock, power drain, heal, regeneration, stun, just so much stuff, as well as nullify, great damage output. She's just a god tier champion. Black Widow, you know, when she's duped. Oh, also, guys, one thing to mention as well, this spreadsheet is done on the assumption, and I've put a little bit of a disclaimer here. I've got it zoomed in just so you guys can read it even on mobile devices, that this ranking is based on the assumption that all of these champions are awakened. So, you know, we're going with the complete version of the champion, whereas, you know, not just the base. There would be a slightly different ranking. I might add an additional tab for that, but because, you know, champions like Scarlet Witch and Black Widow, they probably land in the great tier until they're awakened, when they move up into the god tier. And the aim of this spreadsheet is to provide a quick overview on the power level of champions in comparison to each other, to give newer players an idea of what champions to focus their resources on. Something to keep in mind, of course, as well with this list, is that certain champions have certain abilities or passives that make them useful for a very particular encounter. For example, I've put here Magneto's duped ability allows him to withstand multiple level 3 attacks because it restricts the maximum amount of damage he can take from any one hit. And I also say that most champions have some sort of contextual good use in the game. So in the current state of the game, as I mentioned before, there are no like super bad champions, only bad ones by comparison. So yeah, let's look in the god tier, guys, as well. We got Doctor Strange, healing, great damage output. We've got 4, insane damage output, just so ridiculous. Stuns galore, just a really great champion. Ultron has so many different uses in the game. You can use him as Alliance Quest attack because he's poison immune and he can take those nodes, or alternately you can use him for Alliance War defense and he's really good for that. Also not a bad option for questing as well, because you can regen quite a lot of health. He has 2 kind of buffers which you push below, and then you can quickly like gain like 25%, maybe even 30% if you have the increased healing mastery. So yeah, Ultron, really great champion for a lot of aspects of the game. Star-Lord, insane damage, really good for Stuff like the Realm of Legends, Labyrinth of Legends, Captain America. I've put both here because since the World Power nerf, there really isn't much between them. Captain America World War II still is the better one, but I don't think the gap is as big as before. I think, you know, they're both really, really great champions, and they both deserve to be in the God tier. Mainly, the main like big perk of Captain America is that whenever you block, you are taking close to no damage. So his kind of value has really gone up since the removal of perfect blocks, so that's why he makes it into the God tier, just because he's amazing in Alliance War Assault, really good for questing if you don't have any of the other kind of champions that can regen. So yeah, really good option. Then we've also got Wolverine. So Wolverine is in this tier because he is just a really, really decent damage output champion. He heals for an absolute crap ton when he's duped. Really good for questing, good for Alliance War attack, good for Alliance quest attack, good for Alliance War defense as a boss. He just has tons and tons of uses in the game. So yeah, that's kind of my justification of some of the God tier champions. And then we're gonna kind of like really, I guess we need to skim over champions quite quickly, or this video is going to be quite long. So in the amazing tier we have Guillotine. She has some self-healing, a healing reversal, great damage, bleeds. Rocket Raccoon, insane damage, literally highest damage in the game. Really glass cannon champion that once you can play perfectly is really fun to play. Electro, amazing damage, and also one of the top champions for Alliance War defense, really, really good. Crossbones, great damage, also reduces defensive ability accuracy, which is very, very valuable. Nightcrawler, evade central, great damage output. Really good for Alliance War. Cyclops 90s, insane damage output on his level 1 and level 2. His beams are so ridiculously overpowered. Has a decent amount of health, can survive quite a bit. So yeah, just a really decent champ. Wolverine X23, really great champion, amazing damage output, a little bit of healing, stacks a ton of bleeds. When she can't bleed the opponent, she stacks a buff which gives her even more crit damage. So yeah, Magic is a goddess of Alliance War defense, so ridiculously good. Limbo is just so difficult for people to fight against at the moment, and a lot of people are struggling with that. Agent Venom bypasses a certain amount of evade on his attack, so really good for fighting stuff like Spider-Man. He can also shrug off debuffs and stuff, which makes him a really good Alliance War defender as well. Spider-Man Symbiote, insane damage. Vision, Power Drain, and bleed and poison immune. Those are the two little perks there. Makes him really great for Alliance War attack. For Jane Foster, really good damage. Stuns. So yeah, whenever this character attacks a champion that's stunned, she deals tons more damage. Also has a nullify as well, or actually it's a prevention buff, which is good and handy. Storm, insane damage and stuns. Spider-Man Classic, evade central, really good Alliance War defender. Spider-Man Miles Morales, really good Alliance War defender, but pretty decent offensive champion. Then we've got Gamora, Black Panther, and Iron Fist, who are all really high dealing damage champions. And then in the Great Tier, so Great Tier, you know, it's a little bit below Amazing Tier, but they're still really good champions. Got Red Hulk, Juggernaut, Unstoppable Colossus, Yellow Jacket, Elektra, Daredevil Classic. Yeah, I think Daredevil Classic belongs there. He was one that I was debating about moving to Amazing, but you really, to make him like really good, you have to have him like dupe level 99, which takes forever. Like that's so long and very out of reach. You know, to have that reliable projectile invade. So yeah, he's probably in the Great Tier for most people. Then we've got Moon Knight, Falcon, Karnak, Rogue, Gambit. I don't think any of these are all fairly new champions, and they're all pretty great, but none of them are like super game-changingly amazing in my opinion. So yeah, that's kind of my little justification for that. They're all pretty easy to beat and don't really like bring too much to the table. They have like some quirky abilities and stuff, but nothing too amazing. Then I've got Magneto Classic. I've got the Classic Cyclops as well. I rank him quite a bit below the 90s Cyclops. Also for most people, awakening this champion is just, you know, it's not going to happen for a very long time until you complete Labyrinth of Legends or use a 4-star awakening gem. So yeah, and to be honest, he's the worst Cyclops in my opinion. You can't, being able to stack the armor breaks quite reliably on the 90s Cyclops and just like chain those level 1s just makes him so much better in terms of damage, at least from my perspective anyway. So then we got Deadpool X-Force, Classic Deadpool, who nobody really has at a 4-star level. Then we've got Beast, Ronan opponent has a really good use for a limited number of fights, but in general, I think he's a bit of a subpar champion. Don't think he's too great. Superior Iron Man, again, okay for Alliance War defense, but there's a lot of people with Despair or Healing Reversal using a champion like Guillotine or Vision with heal blocks. It's quite easy to beat. Venom Pool and Venom, you know, they're great champions, but they're not amazing. They're pretty good though, pretty good, fun to play. Then we got Drax, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Groot. Is debating bringing Groot up into the amazing tier because he's really, really good for Alliance War defense, but aside from that, he doesn't really have that many other uses in the game. He's not very good at dealing damage. Then we've got Iron Man, also good for Alliance War defense, again, very similar to Superior Iron Man. Then we have Black Panther Civil War, who is really, really good for Alliance War defense, but aside from that, doesn't really have much use. We tested him out quite a bit yesterday. The damage output kind of sucks, not super great. Old Man Logan, and then She-Hulk. So She-Hulk is a champion that I'm not 100% sure about. I've heard she's really, really good for Alliance War attack though when she's duped, so she might make it to the amazing tier. She's also got a stun and a few other cool stuff, so I'm not too sure. And then in the good tier we have Loki to start off with. Really good prestige, but the champion, I don't really see where he's used in the game. Like, that's what I struggle to find, because his damage output really is quite bad in comparison to a lot of champions. He hits like a bit of a wet noodle. The buff steal is nice, but it doesn't really it isn't really like super useful anywhere. So yeah, I don't think he has like too much use in the game. Like, there are better champions in most contexts that I can think about. And then we've got Rhino, quite good for Alliance War defense, but aside from that, he's not super great as an aggressive or questing champion. Joe Fixit, again, I don't know super amounts about Joe Fixit, but from what I've seen and what I know about the champion, he's just good. Like, he's not great or amazing or god, he's just a good champion. Then we've got Magneto Marvel now, ranks a bit lower than the classic Magneto, because I think his his magnetized ability being kind of like on 50% of the time and off is bad. That makes him an overall like worse defender, because you can just play around that. And his duped ability only kicks in when he's lower health, so yeah, I don't think he's that super great. Then we've got Winter Soldier, not really a super great champion. The power drain's useful, but you'd much rather be running a Vision in a lot of scenarios. Colossus, don't really think he brings too much to the table. He's good, I think he's bleed immune. He's not poison immune as far as I'm aware, so doesn't really like do much damage. Defender wise, he doesn't really have an evade or reliable damage back. His specials are really, really easy to evade, so I don't think Colossus is super hype. Daredevil Netflix, again, doesn't really sort of bring too much to the table. His projectile evade isn't very reliable. It's only 15% chance. Has a pretty weak armor break that only applies to stun targets. Doesn't really do too much. Hawkeye has power drain on his level 1 and a nice bleed, but that's pretty much it for that champion. He was an option for Ming-Na's, but aside from that, I see like Vision was probably a bit of a, to be honest, Hawkeye was a decent option for Ming-Na's, but yeah, I just don't think he's like overall in the broader spectrum of the game, he's like a super great champion. He might go into the great tier though. That's one that I'm considering, guys, but again, I'm very open to your feedback on this. Then we have Black Bolt. Black Bolt I don't think is hype at all, especially since the removal of Perfect Block, because whenever this champion uses his level 2, he suffers from a recoil, which damages back and kills the champion quite quickly. So I can't really think of any scenario where this champion would be good. He'd be a lot better if they removed the recoil on the level 2, but just, when you're thinking about stuff like Alliance War, Alliance Quest, and you're gonna have to do quite a few fights, and you want to use like your really high damage special ability, you don't want to be taking a load of damage whenever you use that. So yeah, I don't think Black Bolt is super good. Then Kamala Khan, she might be in the average tier, actually. She might be in the average. I'm debating moving her, guys, because she really doesn't bring much to the table. Very clunky champion. I think she's a lot worse than, I'm gonna make that correction now. She's definitely average tier. She's just got a very like clunky combat style, and yeah, don't think she's super great. Hulkbuster, tons of armor, really good for Alliance War defense. Well, not really good, I guess he's kind of good, but then again, doesn't really bring much to the table in any other aspect of the game. And then we got Civil Warrior. He's kind of a cross between Hulkbuster and Vision, but his power drain is a little bit too weak. His damage really sucks. So I'm not a Civil Warrior fan at all. I mean, I got this champion, I played him out of him, and I was just so underwhelmed. He just seems like, yeah, I just don't think he has any particular use in the game. Like, that was just kind of my opinion on him. He might be an okay, like, Alliance War defender, but that's pretty much it. And then we've got Hulk. Hulk seems to deal, like, quite a bit of damage. Well, he deals, with his durability, he deals quite a lot of damage when he's very low health. So, in some sort of scenario where you need to revive Hulk, when you're just reviving and then fighting until maybe a short enrage timer, he might be good, but in just a lot of aspects of gameplay, I don't think he's that great. For Alliance War defense, he's so easy to play against. His specials are really easy to avoid, so yeah, just don't really see too much use for Hulk in the game. But you know, guys, I'm very open to your opinion, and I do want it in the comments. And then in the average tier, which is the worst, we have Spider-Gwen, very weak armor break, mostly starts in traps. Spider, and to, you know, get her into a like acceptable damage state, you often have to use your level 1 ability, so it's just a really slow champion. So, you know, if we were to compare somebody like Spider-Gwen and then God Tier 4, you know, Spider-Gwen, 4% armor break, 4 has 140% armor break that can very easily stack up to 2 or 3 times quite quickly, and then just demolish targets in, like, you know, 10 hits. You can really see the disparity in, like, power level of champions. So, yeah, I just don't think Spider-Gwen is a good champion at all. I love her animations. I love them so much, but she just doesn't have, like, that much use in the game. Not good for, yeah, questing, Alliance War attack, Alliance War defense. Terrible for that, actually. So yeah, then we got Luke Cage as well, a little fan favorite there. Again, he has physical resistance, he's bleed immune, but that's really all that he's got going for him. You know, he's all right for Alliance War defense, but if you're actually playing this champion, his damage is so ridiculously low, it sucks. And then you've got Punisher, who's kind of like a worse Winter Soldier. He does have that Defer Death ability, but I don't really think that's too great unless he's dupe level 99, and even then it's like not super good. You just kind of like parry him and like wait 5 seconds, or what is it? I think it's like 5-7 seconds for it to end, and then yeah, you kill him. It doesn't really help out the character too much. But obviously, when you get the Punisher, it's from an Arena Crystal, right? And that is by far the best thing you can get from it, so you can't really complain about Punisher. But I just think in terms of, you know, comparison to other champions, he's not really that great. He's not that hype, boys. So, and then we have War Machine, just fairly low damage output. A champion that was used quite a lot because of the perfect block synergy, sorry, the block proficiency synergy, should I say, with Hawkeye. But since that has been removed, I just think this champion, you know, isn't too worthwhile. Not really good in, I can't think of any aspect of the game where he would be a choice over any of the amazing or god tier champions. So yeah, that's kind of my view on him. Abomination, I think, definitely deserves this place in average tier. So a lot of people like to say that Abomination is amazing. They're like, whoa, you put him on an Alliance War node with increased poison damage and stuff, and he'll be an amazing champion because he already has poison, and you know, when you dupe him, he gets even more poison. However, the thing is with Abomination, right, is, you know, you're always going to put him on that node. In Alliance War, that's the only place where he could be good, and on that node, as somebody that's attacking that node or coordinating an attack, I'm just going to use Vision, a poison immune champion, and then he's just going to be an easier Hulk. So yeah, he's just generally, like, when you fight him, he's just face roll. You just use a Vision. Alliance War defense is pretty much the only scenario, I guess, where he's good on a poison node. But then again, people are just going to use Vision or Ultron or a poison immune champ to attack him, and then yeah, he's just a bit rubbish. So yeah, I'm not really that hyped on Abomination. Don't really see his use in the game. And then finally we have Kamala Khan, who, yeah, is a bit of a clunky champion. Yeah, just weak damage. I think she has fairly low health as well, and kind of a lot of her abilities and synergies rely on her getting stacks of fury. And the main way to get that is using heavy attacks, or just spamming your level 1. She's just not really super great for anything, to be honest. And that's kind of the overview on that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed that little look of my my tier list in Marvel Contest of Champions. Let me just quickly zoom out. Let's reset the default. So there it is. There'll be a link to it in the description of the video, so if you want to share it with your alliance or any new friends that are starting the game. I'm very open to your input and feedback on this, guys, so if you have a really solid justification of why you believe a champion should be like changed tier, I'd really like to hear it. I've given, you know, a very like rough and quick explanation of why pretty much every champion is in certain tiers, but I'd really, yeah, if you have a good point guys, put it below. Like make it a good point, right? I just don't want to hear, oh, I like Spider-Gwen and she's really good, she should be a great tier champion. I'm like, that doesn't help the argument at all. Like, I would like some stats, like some numbers, that would be amazing. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I've just talked for 20 minutes about champion tiers in Marvel Contest of Champions. I'm pretty burnt out, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that this resource is going to grow and expand on it a bit, but it's a nice foundation, a nice little starting ground there. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new about champions in Marvel Contest of Champions. Apart from that, guys, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.